Hi Art 1 students. Here's the second video for the second media arts project where we will continue to use Pixlr, but instead of double exposure, we're now going to be focusing on hand-drawn patterns, digitally of course. The program will remain as Pixlr. Let me get to those examples in the slideshow. These are examples done in a program similar to Pixlr. I can't be sure, I found them online. But they should continue to relate to your theme. They're going to have to be a reduction compared to the double exposure. So simple lines. Think back to your silk screen design. This could in fact be your silk screen design. I want to pull that project back in conjunction with this. So maybe your silk screen gets printed over top of this or next to it or something drawing that back in. Of course, you could go much more complex because the nature of the process, as you'll see in the demo, is much easier than the silk screen was. Here are more examples of what you might get. It's a great way to think about your theme in a really reduced fashion. It's a great way for those of you who enjoy Procreate, that program, to work in a similar way. So you'll find this demo on the next slide, as well as the advanced tutorial on the last slide. Both videos both projects will have the advanced tutorial. So you want to begin with one image this time. I, of course, could go back to my camera roll and pull something, or I could go to open source images. Maybe your theme is nature and you want a beautiful flower. So I went to Unsplash again and I searched up flower, and then I found this one, and I know that it would be perfect for this project. So I'm going to download it as the original size, and I'm going to save it on my desktop. Sorry, that's my crazy looking passport photo there on my desktop. I keep seeing that pop up. Anyways, now it is time to actually get going. So I have flower JPEG there, but I need it in Pixlr. So I'm going to go pixlr.com, go home, and I'm going to be opening up the editor again. That was the same thing we used before. Open image is where I'm going to start. And I'm going to look for flower. There it is, nicely saved on my desktop. Can always organize it later. And I'm going to do original. And there it is. Looks so great. And so you're going to see that sometimes when you open up Pixlr, this looks a little bit different. That's okay. Don't let that freak you out. You still have the same capabilities. Layers is what's going on over here. And again, it's got a little bit of a graininess to it that I don't love. That's okay. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I do want to make a new layer because I'm going to be drawing over it. So I'm just going to go down here to the plus, and I'm going to get rid of this actually. And I'm going to go to empty, and there it is. There's my layer 2. And notice how, because it's empty, there's really nothing going on. I want to make sure that I am in layer 2, and you can even rename it if you want to. You could say drawing layer or whatever. Don't merge it or anything like that, but that might be helpful for you to stay organized. So my whole toolbox is set up a little bit differently. This is much more similar to the setup of Photoshop when you're in the Pixlr editor. I think I actually was in Pixlr Express last time. That worked really well for the things that I was trying to do. So I definitely recommend Express for the double exposure and editor for this. And so I'm going to click into, excuse me, not that tool, not the color replace. I meant to click on the draw tool. And what I'm going to want to do is actually start drawing in on this layer. But what color am I using? What's going on with everything? All of that you need to orient up here. So my brush is a size 40 point scale. That's way too big for what I'm working on now. I want it to be really hard edged. I want a graphic look, and I want to change the color, which is down here. So I'm going to do the color picker, and I'm going to choose that color just for the sake of time. And before I start doing that, I'm going to click into my background, and I would like to not get rid of it completely, but I would like to change the opacity. And so I'm just going to right click on it, and opacity goes way down, but not so much where I can't see it. I want some details, but not a ton. We'll get rid of that entirely later. And so now I'm going to, again, make sure you're not in background, otherwise you can't get rid of it later. I want to go click back into my drawing layer. You may want to zoom in to do this, because now I am going to use my brush tool, and I am going to use good care to make a drawn layer of this flower. Of course, as with all my demos, I'm going to go really quickly because I want to keep your attention, and I want for you to have just enough information for you to be able to use the same tools and do it yourself. Of course, I might want to do some of these details. I may want to change the color. That's possible. There we go. A little bit more. That's a little harder to see. That's okay. I'm not worried about it. Again, I'm going super quickly. I'm going to keep this all as one drawing because that's just what I want to do. That's fine. I'm going to click it on white and, oh, where am I? Oh, there, just picked it back. And I'm going to draw out. Oh my goodness. See, I'm not that great with the trackpad. If you have a mouse that connects, or even, gosh, your stylus. Mine's lost. So hopefully, if you have a stylus, get after this with a stylus. That would be so much easier, right? Ooh, that way you're not having this drift happen. Anyway, this is going to be so much better done with that. But enough, I think, to show you the gist of the project. I'm going to change and work in some gray. I would definitely recommend tinkering around with linear work first, and then you can up your brush size and you can do some filling in. There's ways to add a gradient and spill bucket if you want to do that. I'm not as great with that, but if you want to give it a try, you can. I just clicked it in. You could definitely play around with all of this, and you can see if you prefer that or if you prefer linear. How do you know though? Your background needs to go away, and then you will see, you zoom out, your nice, oops, I just dropped all that paint in the background, but actually you may want to do that. I am going to undo or Control Z, that, there we go. But I do think I actually like a different color background. And so I may change that off of contiguous though, so that I could do something pretty, oops, that's too dark for a background. And I could drop in like a purple, and really just, I must have a little gap here because what I want is the purple to just go in the background. I'll go back and check to make sure that shape is completely closed. And so what you're going to do is you're going to have your drawn out flower or whatever it is, and then you can actually take that layer without the background, and you can edit, and you can copy that, and you can go File, New, and then you can create a pattern and you can duplicate it. So edit and paste. Oops, there it is. That's a little large. I'm going to want to change the scale of it, and then I can move that around. So there I just clicked on the button. Look how intuitive it is. Again, my little half flower. This looks funny. And then you can see I'm in a whole new system over here. And then I can go to copy, edit, paste, and then I would have a lot of these little guys floating around, and then I can make that pattern and I can set that up. So that way you can really see one drawing manipulated over and over again. Sorry, this was so rudimentary, but you could see if you had a long time how you can make something really cool. This was actually my example from a couple of years ago. Oops, let me go back. Where is it? These are my flowers. So if I have a little more time, I can do a better job than what I just did in the demo, but hopefully that's enough to get you going. And of course, I'm available with questions. I just want to have this as a guide for you to click back on and review multiple times if you forget the steps.